I'm paid to find the cracks in everyone's armor, to see where they bend, where they break. But when I looked at you, I realized I was the one standing unprotected. I've spent years studying weakness like a language, memorizing patterns of defense. Yet one glance at you dismantled every shield I thought I owned. I know how to read people, how to peel them layer by layer. But you didn't need to say a word for me to feel completely undone. I make a living exposing others, but something about you turned the spotlight inward, and suddenly my own walls felt paper thin. I've always been the observer, never the subject, until you looked back at me and saw everything I tried to hide. I thought control meant understanding everyone else. But you taught me that true power is realizing how fragile I actually am. I'm trained to notice flaws, yet with you, all I noticed was how badly I wanted to be seen without armor. I've dismantled egos, defenses, and lies, but you disarmed me just by existing exactly as you are. I know where people hide their fear, but you found mine without even searching. I've been proud of my emotional distance until you made me realize distance is just another form of fear. I can spot insecurity from across the room, yet standing in front of you, I felt naked in ways I never prepared for. I've always known how to stay untouched, but you didn't reach for me. You simply understood me, and that was worse. I was supposed to analyze you, but instead I became the thing being examined. I've spent my life breaking others open, never imagining I'd meet someone who could quietly break me open too. I know every trick people use to protect themselves, yet none of mine worked when you smiled at me like you already knew. I've been the one holding the knife, but somehow you made me realize I was bleeding the whole time. I've seen bravery fake itself as confidence, but you saw straight through mine. I thought vulnerability was a weakness until you made it feel like the only honest thing left. I've mapped human behavior like a battlefield, yet you turned it into a mirror. I never feared exposure until I felt how deeply you could see. I've always had the upper hand until I realized my heart was standing alone in the open. I analyze, I predict, I prepare, but nothing prepared me for how real I felt around you. I've learned to read between the lines, but with you, everything was written plainly on my chest. I've always been the calm one in the storm, yet you made me question what I was hiding behind that calm. I was taught to never let anyone close enough to hurt me, but you didn't hurt me. You revealed me. I've always known where to strike, never knowing how deeply I wanted someone to strike me with truth. I can dismantle defenses in minutes, yet my own fell apart the second you noticed my silence. I've spent years pretending I was untouchable until you made me want to be touched emotionally. I know how to stay ahead of everyone else, but you pulled me into the present and stripped away my escape. I've watched people crumble under pressure, never realizing how fragile I become when I care. I've been trained to never reveal myself, but around you, hiding felt exhausting. I've always been the one asking questions, but you answered everything without speaking. I thought strength was about control until I felt how powerful it was to let my guard down. I can expose lies instantly, yet I was lying to myself about how deeply you affect me. I've seen people break when their masks fall, but when mine did, I felt oddly free. I've been the sharpest mind in the room, but you made me realize intelligence means nothing without honesty. I can read fear in others, yet my own fear surfaced the moment I imagined losing you. I've always kept my emotions organized and locked away, but you scattered them effortlessly. I thought vulnerability made people weak, but with you, it feels like courage. I've trained myself to never need anyone, yet you made me question why I ever wanted to live like that. I can see everyone's defenses, but you made me realize why I built mine so high. I've always stayed one step ahead until you stopped me in my tracks by seeing my heart. I've been paid to expose others, but you exposed something in me I didn't know existed. I've never feared being understood until you understood me completely. I've spent years mastering emotional distance, yet you made closeness feel inevitable. I've analyzed love like a concept, but you made it feel like a risk worth taking. I've seen people lose control, never thinking I'd want to lose mine for someone. I've always known how to stay guarded, but you made guarding myself feel like a betrayal. I thought I was immune to attachment until you made me realize immunity is just denial. I've read people like open books, yet you turned me into a story I couldn't finish alone.